What do we say when the Saints are playing?
Who dat?
Darn right. Who dat?
Go this way.
Go this way. Who dat forever. No matter how bad it gets, who dat? We'll never forget that. The crappy times make the good times feel that much better. Saints are 0-4. Spencer Rattler 0-10 as a starter. Fully anticipated this team would start 0-4. Here they are. Certainly did not anticipate the loss at Seattle the way it looked. But considering the way that looked, an admirable effort today against what might be the best team in the NFL. I mean, Buffalo played a sloppy game by their standard, still scored 31 and won by double digits. That's because Josh Allen's the reigning MVP, and Buffalo might well be the best team in the NFL and could win the Super Bowl and all that sort of stuff. Go this way, but it's not about Buffalo. It's about the Saints. And I think a couple of things. Go this way. I think a couple of things. Hi, Drew. I think a couple of things that are maybe the most. Important coming out of last week. And I am nothing if not consistent, y'all. I told you this for months leading up to the season. I'm going to keep saying it. I did not expect this team to win a lot of games, so I'm not going to sit here and crush them for losing games. We can certainly go this way. We can certainly criticize. Hey, Drew, last time. Go this way. We can certainly criticize decision-making, play calling, all that sort of stuff. There are things that certainly warrant criticism. And I'll tell you, my biggest thing through the first three games were the penalties. And it's the unforced errors, right? It's the illegal formation, it's the false start, it's the offsides, it's all of that stuff that are completely controllable. And they cleaned a lot of that up today, which was great to see. This game started about as bad as you could imagine, considering last week. The Bills get the ball to start the game. They go right down the field, score a touchdown. You're down 7-0. It's like, okay. And then the Saints responded with a beautiful drive. That was where Kendre Miller had the 18-yard touchdown run, which was awesome. Like, how good did Kendre Miller look today? Like, that's the kind of thing where I look and go, okay, the thing I've wanted to see from this young team are building blocks. Pieces that we can look and say, okay, in the next half decade when Cam Jordan and Demario Davis and Alvin Kamara, and these guys are no longer here, like, who are the guys that can be building block stars of this team? And I would have never thought about Kendre Miller the way that his career started under Dennis Allen, but my goodness, he's looked good to start this season, huh? Hey, what do you say when the Saints are playing? Who dat? That's right. He knows. There it is. Great shout out Flirty Girl. Kool-Aid, but like the disappointing part, Kool-Aid gets burned a couple times in that first drive, right? Like, you want Kool-Aid McKinstry to prove he can be a lockdown number one corner. He's just not that. But Kendre Miller's TD was great. You ran for nearly 200 yards in this ballgame today. Great to see the offensive line whole. Ruiz got hurt. Torricelli Simpkins replaced him, but good to see the offensive line whole. You look at the way that first half played out. You tie it at 7. They go right down. James Cook gets the rushing touchdown. It's 14-7. You're thinking, like, you're just not going to get a stop. But you really were able to settle in. The next drive, after that, the next drive was not good for the Saints. That's where you had the sack followed by the grounding on consecutive plays. But then Jonas Sanker comes up with on consecutive plays, PBU, interception. What? What do you say when the Saints are playing? Who dat? I can't get mad at him for saying who dat. So Jonas Sanker, PBU, interception, had another PBU later in the game. Like, it's so disappointing that Julian Blackmon got hurt, but it gave an opportunity for Jonas Sanker. And there's a rookie out there who started now 3 games and looks more than comfortable. He looks like a starting player in the NFL, which is great to see. And after that, you didn't score. You didn't score after the Sanker interception, but But Kai Kroger punted down the ball at the 1. You end up getting a short field, and Groupie makes a 54-yarder. How about Blake Groupie? Look, we're gonna kill him for missing a 40-yarder and a 35-yarder, which is inexcusable, and might have cost you your opportunity. Did cost you your opportunity against Arizona, but and I guess kind of against San Francisco too. But anyway, drills a 54-yarder today, which was great to see. You got points off a short field. Cam Jordan had a sack in the first half. By the way, that's notable. Cam Jordan's sack was the 124th of his career. If you go look at the official sacks have only been a stat officially kept since 1960. And if you go look at the official sack statistics, 125 is basically the benchmark. Like everybody, there's a couple of guys who are still waiting. There's 2 who are still waiting to get in the Hall of Fame who exceeded. I think Jonathan Abraham is one. Who's the other one I'm missing? I can't remember off the top of my head. But guys that it's Terrell Suggs. So those guys will get in the Hall of Fame. But point is, Cam Jordan's at 124, so he's 1 sack away from reaching the threshold of, like, if you get to 125, you're a Hall of Famer. So, Cam Jordan, 1 more sack this year, he'll get that, he'll exceed that, he'll keep climbing the all-time list and sort of solidifying his gold jacket status. So that's a footnote in today's game, but I think it was important. If there's one thing I think you got to criticize, it's the trick play at the end of the first half. And I don't think it's one of those things where you look and you criticize it just because it didn't work. It's a 14-10 ball game. I understand a field goal there, it doesn't tie it, but I don't know how you could look at a situation like this and pass up points. And especially considering you were running the ball at nearly 6 yards a clip. That was 3rd down. I fully understand it was 3rd down from the 4, I believe, 4 of the 6, but it's 3rd down. You're running the ball for nearly 6 yards a clip. If you're going for the touchdown, then call 2 plays. Like, understand that you have 2 plays to get in the end zone here and run the football, because they hadn't stopped Kamara or Kendre Miller at that point from running. I hated the trick play. I hated putting the ball in Chris Olave's hands to throw it. I think that is only a situation where you throw it. That was the Philly special, and it's only one of those situations where you throw that football if it's completely, totally wide open. Otherwise, you eat it because you missed an opportunity to get points there. And I know at the end of the game it finished 31-19, so you could say it's irrelevant, but you were also in a situation where you had to go for a 2-point conversion, which you didn't convert. On Rattler's run where he was just short. All that to say, I hated the call. That's not the benefit of hindsight. In that situation, I hated the call. You could say they're not a good team and take some chances. That's fine, but that's who dat. But it's one of those situations where you've kept yourself in the game. You got to get points right there, and you can't make that mistake. Even if you call it, they can't throw that ball if it's covered. So, absolutely hated that decision to make that call. Hated the decision by Olave to throw it. Hated everything about that. But then again, I'm someone who just values points. Look at Kirby Smart last night. 4th quarter, you're down 3. They're a 4th down at the 10-yard line. You have not led the entire game. You have a chance to tie it in the 4th quarter. Your defense is playing balls out, and you go for it on 4th, get stuffed, and you don't get a chance to win the game. Stupid. Just stupid. Like, score points. The objective is not yards. The objective is not statistics. The objective is score points. Like, you have got to affect the scoreboard. When you can, you do it. You score points. And I hate the call. Second half, Josh Allen had the rush TD to put him up 21-10. Felt like that kind of put the game away. But credit the Saints, man. They went down. Olave scored the touchdown. 11 plays, 65 yards. By the way, on that 11-play, 65-yard drive, 7 runs. I mean, you ran for nearly 200 yards in this game, which, with a healthy offensive line for the first time this year is what you wanted to see. You Penning at guard, Fuaga back at right tackle. Yeah, I was glad to see them run the ball the way they did on the road, because that'll play. That will play against anyone you play if you're able to run the football. not only will that help shorten games, keep your defense off the field, take pressure off of Spencer Rattler. I mean, these are all like true football tenets that we know. So it was great to see them run the football. Granderson came up with a big stop on a 4th and 2 around midfield. Looks like he had scored on Cooks' touchdown. Ultimately, it was a bad throw by Rattler, but they reviewed it. You end up settling for the 35-yard field goal to pull within 21-19. So, I mean, you're within 2 points. You're within 2 points in the fourth quarter. But then, Groupie, misses the landing zone on the kickoff. They get a short field. Josh Allen with the 27-yard bootleg on 3rd and 5. Or the 27-yard bootleg they scored on 3rd and 5 with the touchdown to make it 28-19. And Kamara was short on the 4th and 3, and they added the late field goal. So, I mean, you were in a 2-point ball game with one of the best teams in the NFL at the midway point of the fourth quarter. I'm not into moral victories. I get all that, but I think it's also you have to be realistic and understand what this team is. They're not a contender. They're not very good. They're not very talented. They got a young quarterback, rookie coach, all the things we've talked about. It's going to be a brutal season, but they went out there and coming off of last week, which was atrocious. They went out there and played really hard. So, and put themselves in a position late in the game against a good team to try to win it. Now, next week you get New York and then the Patriots. New York won today, beat the Chargers with Jackson Dart in his first start. I'm actually glad they started Jackson Dart today because now you get some game film on him. And then you get the Patriots who just absolutely whitewashed Carolina today. Oh my God. Which, by the way, Carolina's atrocious. Like, you can probably get a couple of wins against Carolina, at least split those games. I mean, they're awful. So, you got an opportunity next couple weeks to get on the board. So we'll see if they can. Saints lose 31-19. Anything else? I think that's it. All right. 0-6. Maybe. But you're at home. If you play and run the football the way you did today, the next 2 weeks, you will have a chance to win those games. I'm not saying you will, but you have a chance. You didn't have much of a prayer winning this game today. But you played hard and you were in it late. So, anyway. All right. We're going to go to the mall. What do we say when the Saints are playing? Who dat? All right, y'all. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday. Go walk Drew around the mall a little bit. Get home, watch some afternoon games, and we'll enjoy it. See y'all. Have an awesome day. Peace.